The Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 6 is out, and I really don't know how to feel about this. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be breaking down and reviewing The Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 6. This one is definitely going to be controversial, but before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you guys for getting us so close to 250 subscribers. So if you're brand new, click that subscribe button. It's free. Because at 250 subs, I'm going to be making a video on how I met Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, aka Kingpin, and Daredevil. And I asked them about Daredevil Born Again, and you know that show is going to be good. Anyways, first we're going to break down the episode like usual, and then I'm going to give my thoughts. Because I got a lot. So this episode opens up not with Din Djarin and Bo-Katan, but on a spaceship with a Mon Calamari and a Quarren. These are two characters who really don't mean much, so I'm not even going to waste my time explaining who they are because they're only in this episode for like 3 minutes. But they're the main characters of the intro. Basically, all you need to know is that these characters are kind of in love with each other, and these Mandalorians, the ones we actually saw with Bo-Katan in Season 2, are now bounty hunting for another planet, and they're actually retrieving this one guy. And basically, all this intro does is show you, oh, the Mandalorians with Bo-Katan are still around. The scene goes on for like 5 minutes, and then is really never touched upon for the rest of the episode. The episode then actually begins with Bo-Katan and Din Djarin flying to a planet to find the other Mandalorians who we just saw in the intro. Because Bo's whole goal now is to reunite the Mandalorians with all of the people and have basically everyone all together again. Because she wants to rule. Or does she? I don't really know. The series is kind of giving confusing plot points here, and we'll get into that later on. They arrive on this really nice planet with a bunch of droids, and guess who's leading it? Jack Black and Lizzo. Now I've got to say, I love Jack Black, I like Lizzo, but I think I'm over the whole celebrity in Star Wars thing. The only time I actually loved a character who is a celebrity popping up in The Mandalorian is in Season 2 when Bill Burr pops up as Mayfield. He was a fantastic character, and I actually hope he returns. He isn't in just one episode. He actually comes back later on in the season and gives a great emotional performance. This, unfortunately, is not what we get with Lizzo and Jack Black. They're the leaders of this planet, and basically they have all of these droids who do everything for them, and they live a very fancy lifestyle. Jack Black plays Jack Black, and Lizzo reads her lines that she was given. This isn't a dig at them at all. I'm just saying it feels kind of cheap because I'm looking at these people and I'm not thinking of them as their Star Wars characters. I'm thinking of them as their actors, and it really takes me out of the scene a lot. So of course they want to meet the Mandalorians, but before they do that, shocker, they have to go on a side mission. Now this is already a side mission, so they're going on a side mission for a side mission. The side mission is the fact that these droids that they're having are going rogue. And it's cool because we're seeing droids from the Clone Wars, and it's actually really nice to get those callbacks and hear the droid voices again. But anyways, some of them are going rogue, and it's up to them to figure out what is going on with these droids. And if they figure it out, they'll let them meet the Mandalorians. Which Bo already knows them, they just don't know where they are. So they go on this mission and meet Ugnaughts, who are a species in the galaxy who we've actually met before in The Mandalorian. If we remember back to Season 1, Kuiil was an Ugnaught, and we actually see them in the original trilogy as well. Bo can't get through to them, but Din can because he brings up Kuiil and says, "I have spoken." I did really like this part. I thought it was a nice touch, and it shows that Din Djarin has skills that Bo-Katan doesn't, and vice versa. So the Ugnaught brings them on another side mission to go to a droid bar. And this was probably my favorite part of the episode because it's something really Star Wars-y and feels really cool. To find out why the droids are acting so weird, they go to the last known location of the recent rogue droid, which is at this bar. Now they're not getting drinks, but they're getting these chips, and they go into a really deep scientific explanation as to how droids get drunk, but it's basically just a chain code that they insert into themselves and makes them think different things. And this code in turn has caused some of the droids to revert back to their old programming. So the bartender at this bar sends them on another side quest to go figure out what is wrong with the chips that they're inserting in them. And we find out from a scientist that the main commander, who we met earlier in this episode, played by another celebrity, Doc Brown from Back to the Future, he was causing the whole thing. And then we have the conflict resolution. It really reminded me of like a mid-season episode of the early seasons of Clone Wars. Not really high stakes, but we have to remember this is episode 6 of an 8-episode series. We are getting near the end, and I don't really notice much plot development. There's been some fantastic moments this season, and I still love this show. It's going to take a lot for me not to like Star Wars. But I do notice some sort of magic loss, if that makes any sense. But at the same time, I'm all for the world building. I just want to see things move forward a little bit more and have a little bit higher stakes. The commander who caused the droids to malfunction in the chain code, he actually references Count Dooku and how he was a visionary, and he's actually a separatist himself. They capture him, bring him back to Jack Black and Lizzo, and they allow them to see the Mandalorians. And this whole episode, Grogu is just there. He hangs out with Lizzo most of the time, and his scenes were really cute and funny. But this guy was a main character, and he's kind of the driving force for the show, and he's definitely been sidelined along with Din Djarin. And I don't particularly like this because we ended season 2 with such a massive cliffhanger of what is Din gonna do without Grogu? What is Grogu gonna do with Luke? But we get 2 episodes in Book of Boba Fett that resolve everything, and then at the beginning of season 3, they're back together. I just feel like the 2 episodes from the Book of Boba Fett should have been the beginning of Mandalorian season 3. I mean, it would have been perfect, because we've actually had time to separate instead of having them be right back together. But yeah, Grogu is completely sidelined. He does another Force flip. That's cool, but that's about it for him. Din and Bo go meet the other Mandalorians, and the leader, Axe, who actually has taken over Bo-Katan's position, doesn't want to give up his spot. So I'm like, great, we're going to see a really awesome battle between the two. Maybe she'll kill him, and maybe we'll see her really dark side and how she really is going to follow through with her goals. She's being deceiving the whole time. And actually, earlier on in this episode, I picked up on something that I think is really important. Bo is constantly reminding Din and everybody else that she's in it for the good fight. She's in it to protect the Mandalorians. She's fully believing in the way. But look, I'm not buying it for a second. Bo is being deceiving, and she is trying to get on everybody's good side, so when the moment comes when she flips, she will take the throne and control everything. Mark my words, she is lying. She has been from the very beginning. We know she wanted the Darksaber, but what happens next is a little confusing because maybe it throws it off a little. She fights Axe and actually puts on a really good fight. The choreography of the fight was fantastic, and I loved how they used their different tools and the jetpacks and the missiles to fight each other. It was well done, and I think it was a really good scene that needed to be in this episode, considering everything else that had happened prior, or the lack thereof. Bo is about to kill Axe, and she stops. Another thing that's a little concerning, because in the past she was a ruthless leader who was doing what she was wanting to do to protect everybody, and I guess it makes sense because she's fighting a Mandalorian. But if she wants to rule with an iron fist, with a Darksaber, with a mythosaur, she's got to do things that not everyone's gonna like. But she lets him live and says, this is not the way, you know, these are our people. And I get it, I guess. I just don't really think it's in Bo-Katan's character that much. She's kind of giving me this false sense of security being with Din and Grogu. She pretends to actually feel the things that the armorer told her, that she's part of the group, but I'm just not buying it. I'm still not buying it. She lets Axe live, and he reminds her that she couldn't even take Din Djarin down for the Darksaber. And at this point, Din Djarin just straight up gives it away. Remember back in season 2 how it was such a big deal that Din could not just give Bo the Darksaber? It was kind of the leading end / bow tie for season 2, wondering what was going to happen next leading into season 3. But no, she just takes it from him. Now they do a little bit of a loophole here, and they say that, oh, well, Bo-Katan defeated the monster from earlier in the season, and that monster defeated Din, so by proxy, Bo defeated Din. But I just think that's kind of lame. Most of the tension I thought was going to be from Din and Bo this season. Bo having her dream just an arm reach away. She could grab the Darksaber from Din and defeat him. All of that is just gone because Din just gives it to her. And I really like the idea of Din being someone who doesn't want to be a leader but is a natural born leader. But no, he's just giving it up to Bo-Katan. Because honestly, he doesn't care about that. He just wants the Mandalorians to be together. But I don't like the fact that he just gives it up. And Bo just takes it. Because it was just such a big deal in season 2 that she didn't. And this is the end of the episode. That's all that happens. We have 2 episodes left. We have so much to cover, and I don't really know how they're going to spin it. Do I think this season is a little bit of a letdown? I don't know. We have 2 episodes left to really ramp things up, and I think they can do it. If we connect the dots, if we find out what happened to Moff Gideon, and we have some really big action sequences, and we see the Mythosaur, this season could be redeemed. Do I see it being better than season 2? Probably not, unfortunately. But I'm hoping for the best, and I'm really excited to see what they do next week. Most of these episodes have been offshoots, side characters getting the spotlight. We've really taken Din and Grogu and moved them off to the corner for Bo-Katan to be in the spotlight. And I'm fine with that. But we also have episodes with Dr. Pershing, the weird Quarren situation, and the other Mandalorians at the beginning of this episode, Lizzo and Jack Black. Something just kind of feels off. That being said, I still love this series and I'm hoping the best for it. I'm super excited, but I did want to point these things out because it's worth noting. Here's what I think. I think that Bo-Katan has been swindling everybody this entire time. We know that in the past, her and Moff Gideon had some sort of fight because Bo-Katan lost the Darksaber to him. And now we find out that there's Mandalorian Beskar in the ship that was carrying Moff Gideon. My theory is that Bo-Katan actually broke Moff Gideon out of that vessel and is playing everybody. She thinks she's doing the right thing by taking back Mandalore, but she's destroying everything in her path. And if this doesn't happen, if we just see Bo-Katan sort of be a goody two-shoes for the rest of the series and her character as a whole, I don't like that. One of her main drawing points is that she's a badass, that she has this hard edge to her. She's willing to do things that other people aren't. But at the same time, she's still super honorable and you can trust her. I'm really hoping this distrust that I currently have for her pays off in some sort of way, and if it doesn't, I think that might be a missed opportunity. Most importantly, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode. I know a ton of people are having controversial opinions. Some really like it, thought it was a blast. Some people absolutely despised it. I definitely think this was a lackluster episode 6 when we only have 2 episodes left. So please let me know down below what you thought of this. I'm going to read it and I'm probably going to respond. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to get us to 250 subs, and I will see you all very, very soon.